What is good with the people out there? I am Damo, the political plug. This is the Chop Up Show. I'm here with my dog Toya G. We back. Y'all know. Once we get around the holidays, we get busy, start moving around, living our lives, traveling a lot. You know what I mean?
Grading my life away. I don't
Grading
want y'all to think
lives
I'm over here
away,
chilling.
celebrating birthday parties. Was just able to kick it with Conscious Lee for his birthday. So happy belated to the homie. Uh,
Yeah.
but But we here, y'all, to have I guess we say important conversation. You know what I'm saying? With some important elements of our society that needs to be discussed.
Miss Ma'am said, "Hey y'all, glad to watch y'all instead of this sad ass game. Chargers getting their asses toe up.
To
Let
be
me see
honest,
if the
that's
game,
the only reason why Toya up here, because that
bruh,
game is pathetic.
63-7, fool. The score is
Yeah.
63. Raiders, Chargers 7. The AFC West is blowing up. We just need the Broncos to continue to underperform, and I think we're gonna be all right."
Look, so yeah, because that game was expected to be trash, that's Toya is here with me today, so I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And
What's up to
so
Donnell too? What's up to Donnell too, Miss Ma'am? Donnell, what's good, y'all?
Donnell, Miss Ma'am, Lee in the building. But we go to get right into the conversation though. Before we start talking about what's going on with Jonathan Majors, it's some equally, if not more important shit to discuss.
Yeah.
And it has to do with the situation of DEI and the circumstances of diversity, equity, diversity, inclusion, however you put them letters together. And some recent updates that we're gonna get into about that before we get into the celebrity gossip. And so recently, Oklahoma. How often was this, Toya? How soon was this?
Well, before we even get to Oklahoma, Oklahoma, the news just broke this week, and that was something that has been kind of mind blowing. But you want to get into Oklahoma, or you want to kind of set the stage to how we get to Oklahoma?
Let's set the stage. Let's
Okay.
set the stage.
Because I think it's important because we got to kind of pat ourselves on the back here, and I don't think we are over revolutionary in our prediction in this, but we
We
literally
smart
had a
though.
conversation. We smart as shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, shout out to the plug. We were having a discussion a few months back, really toward the earlier part of this year, about the decisions that came down from the Supreme Court, specifically the one that shaped the what is it called? Uh,
Affirmative action.
Affirmative action policies in
Yeah.
universities, and specifically in academia, and the way that they were accepting folks. And so, of course, we know folks in the Asian community in particular leveraged some lawsuits that ended up culminating to an appearance in the Supreme Court, where they were challenging the legitimacy. And I'm kind of echoing a little bit, plug. I hear myself kind of challenging the legitimacy of the lack of their acceptances, saying that Black students in particular get accepted too much. So of course the Supreme Court repeals it. They roll it all back. And we've seen in the last few months, I don't know if y'all been paying attention on y'all's timeline, but my say Asian folks are reporting that they've not been seeing the acceptance rates that they expected. You know what I'm saying? They've not been seeing, they did not see the changes in admissions this fall that they were expecting as a result of their actions next spring. And so, of course, we can't call it a dub call it an L just yet. There is definitely more admission cycles that we need to kind of get through, but they slipped and failed. That being said, one of the major things we walked away from that conversation saying, plug, if you recall, was that this is only the beginning.
Yeah. I
That
do
a
recall.
lot of these rollbacks and a lot of this backlash was going to start to happen, not only in academia, but in the professional spaces and social spaces. Literally, the palette for diversity, equity, inclusion was going to start changing in the United States. And it did just that. You know what I'm saying? So, really, we get ourselves to, the understanding now, and this is something you had said, is that DEI is under full attack. You know what I'm saying? Like, it has always existed. It's always been kind of a part of the backdrop of the conversations we've been having about the last 30, 40 years about what it means for people to exist in spaces and places. But
Right.
now, um, we're not really talking about it as much. You know what I'm saying? We was pissed off about that. We were concerned. We were worried. We were on the edge of our seats about DEI. But a lot of things have happened recently to kind of reshape our attention. You know what I'm saying? For example, like, you can add to the list what the Ukraine and Russia,
Right. Without a doubt, Israel and Palestine.
obviously.
Right. Uh,
I think Roe v. Wade happened before that, but that's still on
Before,
the
yeah. But
conversation
you've had
discussion
a
because we
lot of
have
different referendums and elections recently where people like states have been having like they own that's its own thing on this ballot themselves. And overwhelmingly, states have been voting to keep abortion legal. Started with Kansas, by the way. Started
I
with the
mean,
state
and
of
shout out to
Kansas.
Kansas, but we also saw most recently, like for example, the state of Texas, who had a woman who didn't have a viable fetus anymore, was not able to have a baby. The baby died inside of her, I believe, perished inside of her, and she had to make the decision to break the law and flee the state. This is as recent as last week to go ahead and handle, you know what I'm saying, the business that she had to handle because of the nature of the pregnancy she was experiencing. So all of this, without even going down that rabbit hole, I mean, we could talk about student loans, we could talk about the economy in the United States, we could talk about 1,000 things that have really kind of shifted our, attention away from the way that DEI is like starting to not be a thing. So I got a couple examples I was thinking of, but Plug, I know, did you want to talk specifically about the most recent situation in Oklahoma and what's been happening in Texas uniquely? Like, you can kick off kind of the way that we've been seeing these rollbacks, because really it's been under the radar. But one of the goals of this conversation is to really be like, wait a minute, y'all should be freaked out by how things are changing and at what pace. So go ahead and take it away, Plug.
Yeah, so definitely paying more attention. Recently, Oklahoma governor signs order effectively banning diversity programs at public colleges. Now, it's like we have to recognize what the purpose of these programs are for, right? It's to create more inclusive spaces, right? More welcoming spaces for a diverse array of students specifically in this in this context, right? And so like these offices have a very particular role and serve underserved students, right? Underrepresented students, marginalized students. Oklahoma don't care about none of that. They don't care about none of that. The most recent order, as of on Wednesday, Kevin Stitt, Oklahoma's governor, signed an executive order in effect banning diversity, equity, and inclusion programs at agencies and public colleges and universities across the state. The order
Can I stop right there?
Yes, go ahead.
Because I think it's important to recognize the fact that these are institutions and state agencies.
Right.
So I want to underscore that specifically because we know campuses are hostile places for diversity and inclusion. Hence the conversations that are also happening about the protests that are happening on campus over Israel and Palestine and how contentious those conversations are. So we know that campuses are already being shaped and influenced by these conversations. But that should say state agencies. Governor Stitt that went out his way to make sure that at the Social Security office, at the DMV, at the water department, at a lot of different places where we need people talking about the ways that these things implicate marginalized communities, the way that not only Black people, but y'all, he's pulling this shit. And I'm gonna let you finish reading, but in Oklahoma,
of all places,
we know we own native land, we know we own indigenous land, but Oklahoma is the mecca of indigenous place and play. And I don't want to misarticulate land and space and kind of commodify any of that and kind of be, lazy in those comparisons. But when we talk about indigenous land, territory, spaces, you're going to find them in Oklahoma. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I just wanted to really kind of underscore the fact that it's not just the schoolhouse, baby. They're doing it everywhere, top to bottom, where state money is being spent.
Right, anywhere with state money being spent, and they also going as far as to make sure that the money that they was using for that have an explanation for what they about to do next with that money, just to make sure that they abiding by this DEI ban. Now, what I think is extremely dangerous is that this is an example of how having certain people in power can actually like make real very messed up circumstances for like underserved people in all of these communities, right? Because this is really just an attempt to be like all the conversation we got to deal with. Because not again, we think about Black people and all that other shit, but the conversation associated with, like you said, indigenous Americans and how they treated in Oklahoma, like on the land is quote like you said, supposed to be theirs. It's something that they always have to deal with, and it's always a real question. And this is how they skirt the responsibility of dealing with the reality of whiteness and what it's been capable of throughout history, and making it to where it's like, yo, even rectifying the effects of whiteness is like we ban it and make it illegal. Now, Oklahoma, as Toya said, is just like really one state in a bunch of red states that's kind of been on this foolishness.
That's the most recent.
Right, and really like this week, most recent, because you do have Ron DeSantis
Yeah.
and Greg Abbott who kind of led the way with most of these conversations,
Oh, Florida.
uh, and I
Oh,
think
Texas.
what's happened is that we've gotten to the point where that we won a very particular battle when it came to the DEI shit. We won the battle on woke. I didn't think we was gonna win it as soon as we did, but we legitimately won the battle on woke. We embarrassed them with their inability to define what it was, and they went out
Absolutely.
there demonizing it, like all these woke DEI programs and these woke classes, these woke books and woke teachers that they was demonizing. We got them to understand and recognize like we really don't know what this shit means. Because even conservatives started saying that to criticize other conservatives, like, what are you doing? But the
Yeah.
flip side of that is they was like, okay, cool, we don't got to talk about woke shit no more. But we still gonna get these DEI programs up out of there. So the actual battle, like for really what wokeness represented, and like the like why we needed wokeness in certain institutions, we
Mm-hmm.
won like the battle of like what woke is. But like this is an example of how we lose in the battle on being able to protect shit like DEI, shit like critical race theory being even spoke about, or just like Black history, and you know what I'm saying, in the context of what we see in places like Florida, where shit has been just completely banned. You know what I mean?
Right.
And of course, that gets me to asking you the question, Toya: should the circumstances surrounding DEI, should it matter, and how much should it matter in like our voting calculus, or help me phrase that a little bit better. Help me phrase that question a
Well,
little better.
one of the things before we even get to that question, actually, I'm gonna back up. I'm gonna back up because I'm gonna get there one way or another. I wanted to drop another kind of startling statistic about, not only Texas and Oklahoma and the way they've been doing book bans and CRT bans and this and that. But the
Right.
last thing I want to sneak in there is that uh what was it? The tech industry in particular. We talking about your Amazons, your Googles, your Metas, your Twitters or X's or whatever the hell, and a whole lot of other tech spaces, but also just job postings in general. George Floyd's death is a unique pivotal point in the DEI conversation, and we can't overlook that because of the way his death sparked, literally, y'all, on job postings, on job boards or job listings. They saw a 123-degree increase in DEI job postings in 2020,
That's
right through
crazy.
2021. And then in 2022 is when we started to see the differences and the changes over time. I think what X no, who was it, Amazon, in their biggest wave of layoffs yet, laid off like 18,000 people at the end of 2021 or at the beginning of 2020. I'm sorry, at the beginning of 2023, I think it was, which was their largest exodus. And the vast majority of those, or a huge percentage, I won't say the vast majority, but a large percentage of those who exited the Amazon were in the HR departments, right? Who
Mm.
were brought in to really kind of shape out and round out those things. Now, of course, their justifications are a lack of budget surplus, a lack of money, like really attempting to recalibrate their budgets and things like that. But organizations like X, like, of course, Elon Musk went in there on some other shit anyway and
Right,
started
and
clearing
cleared
house
that shit out.
at
Yeah.
X and knocking people out and stuff like that. But I think I read somewhere that they had like 18 DEI, something crazy, some like double digit number of DEI professionals. Now they got two. And I think that's just to meet like some federal standards in order to
Yeah,
be
but
like
I
a
also think though
company.
it indicts again like how these very important messages get caught up in hype, and when the hype die down, even though the messages is still important, like, yeah, like y'all had an overinflated number of, you know what I'm saying? Y'all just wanted to be like, we have this many DEI professionals while people care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't like, cause even, we do DEI shit. And the first thing that I talk about is like, yo, this is a mission. Like this, you can't be thinking check the boxes if you involved in a mission of equity, diversity, and inclusion.
Bro, you
Like
and I
off
were
break.
about to engage. You and I we're trying to engage in a 5-figure deal to go in and really drastically provide some DEI training and facilitation that would change an entire fire department. And once we came and told them what the value
What we
of our
had
work
you
was,
do,
and
yeah.
And more importantly, let them know that this could be just a pop in quick conversation. We hold hands and smile at each other and say, okay, y'all be nice. When we told them that we needed to have a couple waves of interactions with them, that we needed to sit down in small group settings and have discussions and allow people to get feedback and talk about their experiences and provide solutions based on their vantage points as firefighters and as chiefs. Like, we had a whole vision, a whole 6 month, I think the 3 to 6 month
Kind
plan
of
for how we
breakdown.
were going to
Yeah,
execute.
yeah.
And as soon as we start talking about, you know what I'm saying, being willing
Numbers.
to invest in that type of programming, conversations
It
got
get
short and
iffy.
shallow. Niggas started disappearing. It
Yeah,
got real quiet. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah.
the shit was very, very
Nick,
suspicious.
because niggas is really on some check the box ass shit. Like, and then it's like there is like not enough people take DEI serious and like the purpose of it. Like, what is literally there for? Like, we can't say that there are these like microaggressions and like overall biases that exist in the workplace that we have problems with, that we need to get rid of this shit, and then not take DEI effort serious. You know what I mean? Like, it can't be something that, like,
It's
again, it can't
wild.
be thought
But
about
y'all, but
in
y'all
terms
want
of
that
checking
lawsuit
boxes.
though. When y'all get that lawsuit,
Yeah, I mean,
when y'all
like
get that
all of the
lawsuit, when y'all get that discrimination case,
right now with this in mind, right? With the importance of leadership training and implicit bias training, and not just watching the videos. Don't think just because your company is like make you sit down and watch an online video and do a 10 question or 5 question assessment, think you doing DEI.
unimpressed.
That like no, that like that's again checking the box. Niggas don't care about that shit though, like at all.
I mean, which is why, I mean, the military is doing their own version of rollbacks. I ran into so much wild information that just really, I think, sounds the alarm and demonstrates very muchly the truth of what you were saying, which is that the shit is under the radar, but we can't really let it be. So I'm gonna go back to the question you were trying to ask me, because I think it's a good one. It's important because the whole reason why DEI shit is able to be rolled back is that it's a material thing, that it's been codified in company
Mm-hmm.
policy and in United States legislation and all types of things, all the way up to the Supreme Court. And so the question you was kind of getting at, I believe, is like, really essentially like, what priority level would I give DEI concerns in terms of how voting happens? Like, how important is it? And I want to ask you
To
the
your
same
voting
question. Like, we both
calculus.
can answer this question. Like, how
Yeah.
important is it for somebody like Joe Biden to be like, we're gonna do something about DEI? Or how important is it, do you feel like it's on the people's conscience to like say something in speeches about DEI, or to acknowledge the changes that have happened, especially in light of all these other issues that are pressing, right? Like, you got these wars, you got the economy, you got student loans, and kind of the nefarious way that it's been playing out, and some people getting excused, and some people still got to pay, and all types of shit. A lot of things happening.
Yeah.
I feel like DEI, especially in terms of how I would vote as a voter, I feel like it's medium priority. And the reason why I'm gonna say medium priority
Mm,
is that
I'm disappointed.
for the Democrat, I don't intend to vote for Joe Biden as of today. Let's be
Okay.
clear about that. You know
All
that.
right.
I know that. Let's be clear
Yeah.
about that.
Right. Right.
If
Right.
the election happened tomorrow, I really don't know. I would probably skip president and vote for every other thing on my ballot. Okay.
Got you. Got you.
Like I did when Hillary Clinton was running for president. That being said,
And she
I
lost cause
do
your
feel
ass.
like I do feel like, because my argument, shut up. My argument has always been that Joe Biden don't give nobody nothing to vote for.
Right.
That there's no incentive there. So it would mean something. I don't know what it would mean, but it would be interesting and fascinating to see him be like, listen, because I mean, the Democrats is the kumbaya party anyway. They that we all belong together. Everybody's like, so I don't know why they are not riding this wave of being like, no, who you are matters. We are the fabric woven together of this world. We will not allow for diversity to be something taken from us. We're better together, stronger together. You know what I'm saying? Like, those messages are not there. I think in the face of Asian hate, in the face of your immigration situations, in the face of, Black community always feeling like left out or something, like, there are so many things you could be doing
Yeah.
and that the
Well,
Democrats ain't. And that's a material thing. So I feel
I
like
I think it
they
should matter
gotta,
more. Yeah, I think it should matter more. I actually don't necessarily disagree with your position, because I also think that DEI is like politicized into just liberal shit in general. And so like a lot of the pushback that black people have with DEI is that you hear a lot of white people talking about it. You know what I mean? And it's like they kind of be like, I don't want, you know what I'm saying, talking about biases and shit, like from this person that clearly, we live way different lives type shit. So I do feel like we struggle with like detaching those two things, or we really don't care to, because like Democrats kind of championing it at a certain point is the reason why niggas is kind of like, I mean, like they don't see the value that DEI has in like what it means for like us in our workplaces and the microaggressions that we got to deal with. You know what I mean? And like and kind of like putting people in a position to have to confront them. You know what I mean? What you saying?
Diversity is liberalism, and it's a big slippery slope that goes in between that and you just fucking having people here for the sake of having them here and not really doing nothing besides having them be tokens for whatever, you know what I'm saying, pictures in your brochure, you know what I'm saying, right. Like how they put you on the bus, didn't they? We talk about that. I laugh about it all the time.
They did for me,
but that was DEI for your ass. Damo was on you lit, no you paperwork, smiling and shit because of diversity, equity, and inclusion.
All because of it, yeah. Nah, but I was gonna say, I say that to say that it definitely should be higher, because like I think we have very specific opportunities that we could take advantage of to like be like, this matters to us and this is why it matters to us, and we want, like, how I be talking about we need to talk more about what we want from politicians. You feel me? I want more politicians that take DEI serious and like do things and go out of their way to protect it. Like these, in a lot of instances, you hear a lot of conversation about it. But again, I'm talking about like making it a part of like what they stand for, what they willing to protect. Because it's like that's one of them things to where you don't have to ostracize yourself. Even though you're attaching yourself to like this liberal issue, it's still something that black people could be like, what's your stance on this? You feel me? That's not out. That's not too, because we talking campaigns. So it's like there has to be certain demands that could fit within the campaign paradigm, and I think this is when they can.
Absolutely, right? I'm gonna go to the comments real quick. Lee said, I'm embarrassed. I thought DeSantis could take Trump out. Man, ain't nobody. Donald Trump is 95,000 votes in the poll ahead of everybody. That's why he refused to show up to any of these debates, because he's just like, I get out of his work when it's my time. So
it's fucking my head up that they still doing them. It's fucking my head up that they still doing them.
I mean, because the RNC wants to appear strong in the face of their fracturing. They want to
being completely obliterated.
You know what I'm saying? But they want to feel like they have some strong faces who are representing the party, win, lose, or draw. So sure.
Yeah.
Ms. Ma'am says the company I work for does the things Toya just described, and so many people had no idea about the truth behind people's experiences. And that's what it really is. When you pull people into focus groups, when you get both trainings where you have chiefs and shit like that, exactly, where you get, because we had a plan to do and facilitate, and we was making chiefs. We was like, you can't have DEI training. You can't invite us in and tell us there's a particular issue happening and give us the characteristics of it and be like, and then y'all tell me how it go. Nah, you got to bring your ass in here. Your chiefs got to have your own training. Then we got to separate the firefighters and staff away from y'all so they can
like
speak
leadership training. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Come on now, like, and when you look at the heavy lifting that has to be done, a lot of people just like, I'm not built like that. I'm not for that. And I ain't gonna say our skin folk is kinfolk, but the people who be squirming first is the white folk, and that's exactly what happened. Donnell said Cornell West is still here. So Donnell is like, hey, don't forget about Cornell West. I got some things to say about Cornell West. So I have a primary reason why I really just ain't trying to go down that path.
Why would you say it right now? Well, because
actually, first. I just want to know what your take is first.
So Toya and I had a very interesting conversation when she thought she had got me with something, right? She asked me. She thought she got me. She asked me.
Talk about Cornell West. Don't talk about me. Talk about Cornell West.
Toya asked me, do I think people should vote for Cornell West over Joe Biden? And I said yes, unequivocally, without question. Like, if you are willing to vote, like if you are saying, I want to cast the ballot, I don't want to vote for Joe Biden, and I don't want to vote for Donald Trump, vote for Cornell West. And here's the reason why I said this. I say it because Cornell West will not win, but Joe Biden will lose. And I believe that even like overwhelming support from the black community, even if they just cut the vote in half to somebody like Cornell West, sends a better message than people not voting, and then whoever wins, whoever loses, whatever, right? Because all of the people that's like, well, we need to have a president like Donald Trump, because that's the president this country deserves. Send that message by supporting Cornell West and showing that, look, we at an era where we get behind our people. You feel me? As opposed to just removing yourself from the process and it just kind of play out the way it play out. Show your power. If all y'all that don't vote because y'all talk about y'all want to show y'all power, vote for Cornell West to do the same thing and actually have them feel like, God damn. It happened to the Republican Party, and the Republican Party had to get their shit together with what was his name? Ross Perot. Yeah.
Ross Perot.
Yeah. He ran third party, split the Republican Party, and they had to make some changes. You feel me? Now we'll just have to have another conversation about Cornell West.
So, I mean, two things. One, my issue with Cornel West is I think he's a poor candidate, whether it be Democrat or independent candidate, because all the issues he has with his misogyny and babies and sexual improprieties and affairs and all that type of shit, his debt issues. I think he got all types of shit that will become distractions to his campaign and make that splitting that you're talking about not nearly as material, because a lot of people have a lot of problems with Cornel West that make him just not a clean cut candidate that, you know what I'm saying, like that they want. So I don't get for him
now. Okay.
I don't think how
because
how?
It goes from
this is a black man. This is a black leftist who has historically been like, let's not lose the plot here, my nigga. We're not talking about a do-gooder. We're talking about somebody who has made appearances in the landscape of American politics for the last 40, 50 years. People are, but
in terms of a lot of the leftist positions that we hold, is more likely for somebody.
I love him, and he aligns and gives me the language in many ways for what I identify to be my version of leftism. I'm saying he's not a good candidate to run for president of the United States. What are we talking about? What? Because the other side, here's the thing that I want to say about your whole send a message. So I'm gonna give y'all some scoop about debate, right? Like level one, like critical debate, like me and Damo used to be like, okay, Judge, you want to vote for us because you want to send a message to the tab room that, in the tab room. I want to be clear about the tab room. The tab room is like the people who organize in the tournament, that's setting up who's debating who, that get the information that allows them to know who goes further in the tournament, who sets the landscape for people to win. They're objective parties who just kind of, and let me air quote it, objective parties, because this is a white run activity. Right,
culturally homogenous dominant
activity. So we hope that they're doing things right and not setting people up to lose. But there was just this very basic, elementary ass understanding or version of how we used to debate, where we used to get up and be like, "Judge, send a message to the tab room that you ain't standing for this shit." That
or send a message to the community. Send a message to the community. Send a message to the community that this is a.
Send a message to the debate community. This is an argument. These are things that you align with. The shit. Notice I put emphasis on that being the basic, foundational, elementary, baby way of thinking about how we were doing the knowledge production and epistemological groundwork in this activity. We weren't sending no messages to no tab room. Why am I saying all this? Because it is in direct relationship to everything the plug was talking about. He was like, when we vote for Cornell West, we send a message to America.
Hold on.
We send a message to the Democratic. Like, no, this. You don't. He's a poor candidate.
But hold on. But not voting sends that also sends a message, right? The whole not voting thing is send a message that we gonna hold our ballot hostage. We sending a message with holding our ballot hostage. You're not getting this if you haven't earned it. Oh, that's not sending a message. We never told them. Some
non-voters are trying to. And again, in my history of political participation, particularly in the context of voting, that was my basic foundational fundamental understanding.
It's a part of your foundation,
When I was sending a message to the man, let them know. Ain't nobody on that shit no more. Like, that shit is basic. I am using my political agency the
Mm-hmm.
energy and the capacity that I have to do things that are meaningful and that
Oh,
have
it's
material,
meaningful. Yes.
yeah, meaningful, that have
Mm-hmm.
material significance in my day-to-day life or in the
Mm-hmm.
lives of the people that I care about. There is nothing that gives any level of value, of worth, of quality, of an increase to the quality of life for me for voting for either of these candidates. So I'm not doing that shit. And that has been a principled move. It's not about sending messages. This is about me standing on business, is what the young people like to say we doing these days. And it is a decision that I make to find political inroads that have little to nothing to do with an investment in, particularly the position of the president, right? Especially when these are the options that I'm given. You the first person to say, well, we live in California, so these votes don't matter. So in their not matteringness, when I decide to be symbolic and shit, the least I can do is have somebody I actually want to vote for to vote for. In a world where my shit is just symbolic and California is already settled anyway, I'm abstaining because I feel like it is more symbolically meaningful to me as a political participant in the United States, in civil society in this country, to abstain. Fuck sending a message. I'm talking sending a message to myself. This is what I believe. This is what I stand on.
So yeah, I'm,
What
I'm
I go,
gonna just call you. I'm gonna call you a great thesaurus because it's like, oh, we ain't sending no
boy,
message,
boo.
but I am a symbol. My my abstaining is a symbol. What do symbols
To
do? Send
me, to
messages.
me,
Send
this is an
messages.
introspective.
Send
You are
messages.
assuming that I'm not voting because I'm sending a message to somebody else because I want to be seen or recognized, or that my non-vote will be counted as a vote in another direction. I'm not confused about any of that shit. I'm talking about symbols to myself. It's the same reason some people pray before they eat. It's the same reason some people don't eat with their left hand.
I
It's to
hear
say,
you.
like, it's the same logic that these are principal things that I've come to build a relationship with because I understand how they influence my real life. So don't blame me.
Okay,
Like, I'm
I
talking
hear
my
you.
shit because I feel like I said, it's a matter and a question at this stage about standing on business. Dina,
Well,
Cornell West, I'm gonna shoot you some videos about him so you can kind of get hip to who he is and how he moves. What's up, Emmanuel? What's good? Shout out to Donnell for picking
like
up when
I
I'm
said,
putting
I
down this
understand.
motherfucker.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody need to.
Chris in the building. What's good with you, family? And then Miss Man, you know what I'm saying? Probably
Yeah, Chris
laughing at
wanna
your
holler
ass.
at y'all. Tell you,
You
Chris wanna
talking
holler at
bullshit.
y'all.
Hey,
Chris,
I'm shit.
yeah, we'll talk about
It's
it.
whatever.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. But uh, this whole
One last
Cornell.
thing.
Yes, go ahead.
One last real quick before you get back to Cornell West. The thumbs up on this YouTube is like zero. And that is hurting my feelings. I don't know how you feel about it, plug, but we in here with the family and ain't nobody hitting the thumbs up. So real quick, if y'all could, Chop Nation,
Yeah,
go hit that like, go hit that
I
love
said
real
it's
quick.
at
Let us know
five.
you
It's
on
at
here with us.
five. We got five. We got five. We got five. Let's get
Oh,
some
then I
more.
just need to refresh. I just need to
Yeah,
refresh because I was
but we
getting
still need
offended.
more. Yeah, we still need
Please.
more.
But
Thank you.
now on the Cornell West, she was going back to him before we moved to our last question and then
Oh no,
transition out all the
I
way.
wasn't even going back to Cornell because I think that's for another day, another conversation. Really, I need to just go ahead and challenge you in this formal debate and go ahead and lay that down on you. But
You got my
we'll talk
number?
about we'll talk about that.
You call me and text me
Uh,
about anything else but getting this smoke, baby. Hit my line. Is
oh
whatever.
yeah, after that last little text exchange, I'm with all the smoke. But anyway,
Please.
we gonna work that out behind the scenes. But let's go ahead and we halfway through the show, so let's get to the we good timing. We good on timing. So let's get
Mm-hmm.
to what we tricked y'all in here for. We wanted to kind of slide we
This
wanted to
guy.
slide the DEI conversation in there because if y'all wouldn't have finished that one out with us. So I'm glad y'all was able to pick up that knowledge when we was dropping down there. But let's do it. Let's get into the chop ups. You know what I'm saying? Celebrity bullshit conversation. Jonathan Majors. Jonathan Majors. Uh, he's currently being sued or uh, going through a court case over him and his ex girlfriend. And she accused him of abuse in a particular situation. He was abusive to
Mm-hmm.
her. A lot of information has came out in terms of videos, text messages, and it's oddly enough as the information come out, depending on where you kind of stand already and what you believe about Jonathan Majors, that's how you decipher what's coming out. Because I'm seeing certain outlets that are just like, oh my God, this new information coming out about Jonathan Majors is so bad. Like he
Mm-hmm.
should just be canceled, period. And then other niggas is saying like straight up, like, this exonerate this nigga, if anything. You feel me? So we dealing with a very nuanced situation, right? In an interpersonal sense. And I want to talk about like kind of like how the media has approached it, starting out,
Mm-hmm.
starting out. Um, what like in terms of how you seeing it play out on your social media, Toya, what it's looking like?
It's been very back and forth, very up and down. What we do know about the case is that the jury is in deliberation, so we're gonna get our answer one way or another. You know, similar to like what happened with Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion. I feel like I was back and forth, and my timeline was doing 1,000 different things. Of course, there were a lot of people, especially on my timeline, that were unwaveringly supporting Meg, but you know there was some ebbs and flows, some peaks and valleys, similar to this case where it's been a lot of back and forth, a lot of up and down, a lot of oh my God, we hate Jonathan Majors, get him out of here. Here goes another nigga cutting up. To maybe it's not that bad. We don't know. We need to wait until these trials come out. You know, they like to persecute black men. To, oh my God, he's with Megan Good. He must not be that bad because she just broke up with a pastor or they just got a divorce. And
Shit,
now,
maybe
so
that
like, what
means
is this?
something,
Really just
man.
trying to figure out what it could mean that they're in a relationship together, because that's also another bizarre part of this. His conflict and this issue with a white woman, him being in a relationship with a black woman, which is also kind of exacerbated by the comments that we're gonna get to, that you know he you hear in some radio or video recording or whatever. But to answer your question about what I've been seeing, it's been all over the place and ever more true today and like now, because all this new footage and all this new evidence has been released from the court case or whatever. So we got a recording of the Coretta Scott King, Michelle Obama conversation that's been mischaracterized for the last couple, like month and a half or so. We finally got the recording of him running through the streets and her, well, it starts with an altercation at a vehicle and then goes to him running down the street. I mean, running for blocks. I mean, going like the length of the strides, the distance that he ran is what shocked me. So just so many different things. But then we also know that there's a text conversation where he's being hella toxic and weird and shit like that. So a lot of stuff that's leaving people being like, I don't know. And I think a lot of people are just like, both of them crazy as hell, and we wish we didn't know as much as we did because we don't know how to feel about this shit. That's how it's been.
Okay. So let's start with let's start with like the clearly toxic shit, right? Like the clearly that's just like, bro, out of pocket, right? The specifically I want to go to the I'm gonna kill myself. It's not funny, and I always have to check myself on
It's
that.
not funny. Don't laugh.
Right, but them niggas that say that shit is wild. Like, and when we were conversing about it earlier, I was like, I feel like listening to this, you know what I mean? It's really one of them things where I like this is a distinction between this is a distinction between like famous people toxicity and then like regular nigga toxicity. Because what I think is important that we recognize is that like we put these celebrities on a pedestal, but at the same time they have like just some of the same like internal shit we was raised with, like negative behaviors in terms like in terms of how we respond to conflict. Like most niggas that's like tripping about what Jonathan Majors has said, like know a friend that knows somebody that been, you know what I'm saying, that have been on that type of shit. And even though like yes, even if one of my niggas says some shit like that, I'm looking at you funny. You feel me? I think being like, oh my God, he said that he would kill himself if she. Like, yeah, like desperate people do shit like that. And you hear things like that.
I don't know, because not desperate people do shit like that, but like manipulative people do shit like that, and like real
But again, no,
like
we're still talking toxicity. Like, so it's not I'm not removing the blame like or removing the criticism. But it's the way in which the media like creates this overwhelming narrative off of like kind of like regular nigga toxicity as opposed to like famous nigga toxicity like Diddy. You feel me? Like
I think I see where you're going.
Yeah, like it's one of those like Diddy, like that nigga need to be disconnected from all of everything, not involved with, you feel, because it's like when you hear what he did, like bro, like that's like weird power flexes, you know what I'm saying? Like weird powered what they call fetishes, out of pocket, you know what I'm saying? And that shit that niggas would like empower do, you know what I mean? Like regular niggas manipulate through and that's not even like a nigga type way to manipulate. That's like the like low key you got a little bitch in your heart. You know what I'm saying? Like how niggas when you talk about I'ma kill myself, you feel me? So it's like I think the media where the media take it to is like, yes, do he need to be looked at crazy for saying that? Yes, without a doubt he does. But like putting him like really trying to like on the Disney shit, like removing all of that, you know what I'm saying? Like kind of tearing down, you know, who he is and how he should be canceled in all these other ways. I do think that, you know what I mean, he don't really deserve it as much. Even though like the shit that he did do, you know what I'm saying, like those type of statements should be criticized and shamed. Like that's not cool. Not even that that's not cool, but it's like that's you know what I'm saying? It's all type of abusive, emotionally manipulative. It's all those things, without a doubt.
I don't know. So when it comes down to what he deserves, this is where I'm reluctant, because I don't know what he deserves, because I mean, I've not been terrorized, I've not been threatened, I've not had somebody obviously admit to being violent with me and then try. So what he deserves is up to qualified people who have been put in positions to make those types of decisions. The CEOs at Disney, people, jurors in courtrooms, shit like that. My, I think, take and stake in the conversation is to allow people to be okay existing in the gray. I think because we get to, as you know, the court of public opinion, get to be our own version of jurors, because everybody just lives such great, you know, romantically peaceful lives, and y'all's mamas ain't never fought y'all's daddies, and y'all's grandparents don't have a background, and you know, you just in the perfect relationship with whoever you with, and everything is sweet for you. It becomes really easy to look at these toxic relationships and, like, you know, forget that like shit precipitates it, that we aren't a part of the entire conversation. And as much as I am understanding of this kind of whole idea, like, you know, ain't no two people to be blamed. Like, there's an understanding, there's this notion when you talk about domestic violence, like, you know, ain't no everybody, both people are toxic. It's a power imbalance. So when you have somebody bigger and somebody smaller, when you have somebody who can manipulate power and do certain things, like, you can't really try to play the middle. You got to just kind of look at where the source of some of that violence is. But then I'm troubled by that in moments like this, where like the shit just is really tit for tat back and forth. And I mean, who knows what started it? Who knows how it was precipitated to this point? And I'm not trying to be an apologist, because I don't fuck with violent ass niggas. I don't fuck with abusers. But I also, it's hard because I'm just gonna speak on behalf of personal experience. I know good niggas who just be in just very snap moment, weird situations where I'm disappointed in you, nigga, because I don't fuck with people who move like this and do like this. And so I'm disappointed, and I don't really know where to move forward. But also, she did what? Why would she just haul off, and you know what I'm saying? So like, it's
but you're not allowed to say that no more.
I feel like you're not. And that's why I feel like I just think we have to not move with broad strokes. The whole heavy-handed cancellation, the whole, like, motherfuckers just got to be all right with being like, damn, I can't wait to hear the outcome of that trial and see what happens. But instead, we've been having a lot of very hectic conversations. And here, I hope y'all hear the confusion in my voice. I'm a debater, and one of the things that makes me a good debater is that I debate myself first. So I'm literally in real time going back and forth about how I feel about this shit.
The criticism.
Here's the thing. I know the criticism. I'm familiar with it. I'm a woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's a lot of space that I occupy and a lot of interesting intersections with this. But and which is leading me to also go back to this hour, where it's just like what Lee say, don't think hard, don't think deep about shallow shit.
About shallow shit, yeah.
When people are bad and problematic and create an environment, we know all abuse is not physical. We know it's psychological. We know it's emotional, i.e. I'm going to kill myself. We know it. So I also don't want to be letting abusive niggas get an inch. Right. I think is what I'm trying to get at. I don't want to. It's just, it's that gray area. You know what I'm saying? Where like she has done fucked up stuff to him. We can talk about the audio of the Coretta Scott King and whatever. I think
that's what I was going to say. That's what we was going to do next. Yeah, that's what I think we was going to do next.
Transition. I mean, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm great, y'all. I'm great.
Because again, we looking at like some of the very clear things that's come out more recently. You feel me? And so it's like when you do have like instances of emotional violence with "I'ma kill myself" type shit, and we got a personal story necessarily in the comments. What's her name? Hershey Bar 10 said my homegirl BD used to say that. And for those who don't know, baby daddy,
my dog Cash Money, I think.
Yeah, Cash. Yeah. Said my homegirl BD used to say he was gonna kill himself when she didn't want to be with him anymore because he was cheating. He dropped the TV on his head one time too, seen it with my own eyes. Like niggas is crazy. Like niggas are definitely crazy. Like and that's why I'm not trying to undermine like that what that type of violence represents and how that type of violence can escalate, right? It's just that it's and that is
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm not going to undermine the ways that that type of violence, what it represents, and how it escalates. You feel me? But again, we just broad strokes, right? Sometimes it get too broad when it comes with the media, because
Yeah.
we'll say, well, I can't talk about what he deserved, but we won't hesitate to be like, he deserved to be removed from shows. He deserved to be removed. You know what I'm saying? Like, he don't deserve to have this. He don't deserve to have that. You feel me? So it's a very
Yeah.
complicated issue, and in the world of social media, we don't really get that the opportunity to deal with the nuance. The second evidence that people was like really going crazy about was the comment where it was an audio recording where he was saying, he said, I'm a great man, a great man. I'm doing great things, not just for me, but for my culture and the world. That is actually the position I'm in. He likens his greatness to other important historical figures in the black community during the recording as well. No, do you understand that? Because that team, that unit, right? Grace has to be of a certain mindset to support. Coretta Scott King, do you know who that is? That's Martin Luther King's wife. Michelle Obama, Barack Obama's wife. Now this is why I'm kind of on that, like, pushing back against like how people, you know what I'm saying, are responding to it. Because I think he was like, oh, he likens himself. Like, he talks about he's a great man. Yes, niggas have to talk like that. We've always had to talk like that in order to push back against how we've been told what our blackness is. But go ahead.
Well, this is the messiness of media in relationship to how niggas have to talk about that, how they need to be able to take up certain space and advocate for themselves and know who they are and be boisterous and be boastful about that in certain contexts. Because that was the audio we got. Before the audio, we had tidbits about and commentary about the video that came out. And the version that we got from the video is nothing like what niggas was telling us in the streets was what the conversation was. They had us thinking, really, in my mind, it was on some like weird ass misogynistic race play type.
Yeah, like some
I'm
fetish
a
type
strong
shit.
black man. I know who I am, and you need to be like these black women.
Yeah.
Like, why you not like these black women? Because I'm a black man and I'm out here doing my thing for my culture. Like, on some weird, peculiar shit. And this is why I'm saying we got to stay in the gray and wait for information before you just talk so hard and start snatching shit from people. Because when the audio come out, it is what you just said. It's the clip. It's literally the phrases you just used, the quotes you just used. And what do we find out? Well, it's not no weird, tricky shit, no race baity shit. Instead, Plug, what is he's simply trying to explain that he just wants to be a strong black man. And he didn't say, go and be Coretta Scott King or go be Michelle Obama. Instead, Plug, go ahead and explain what he said in the video.
And this is what really get me hot about that narrative, right? Like, first of all, black men have to be aware of everything attached to them in their lives, especially when they in media. You got to. Everything attached to you can be used against you. Everything. That means like how you move. Even when we talk about black men that get caught up in particular instances and circumstances, what we say, bro, you smarter than that. You know you can't be involved with X. You know you can't be involved with Y. So we go into these circumstances.
We just talked about Tyreek Hill, for example. He got like 4 baby mamas now, and the first thing we said was, "Nigga, you gotta be better and do better."
You know better than that, like, bruh.
You know better.
You know better than that. And so in his circumstances, because what we found out more is that what he was doing was critiquing her for going out and getting lit all the time. Kicking it way too much, partying way too much, because she not understanding.
I think she came in twice with some people. She came back drunk and with people where he was sleeping at or something like that.
She not understanding. Now again, this could be because she a white woman, because this happens often. There's a such thing as black famous. I don't know if Jonathan Majors is white famous yet, but Jonathan Majors was on track to be the next Denzel Washington, without question. Like Jonathan Majors was on track to be next up. So that means that, again, if I'm gonna be on Denzel level, I ain't never heard nothing about Denzel's wife. I ain't never heard nothing about Denzel's wife. I ain't never heard nothing about Michelle Obama.
Except for how amazing she was and how I think she paid for his first date. A whole bunch of cute little anecdotes about her being a super support system and an amazing wife.
Yeah, and somebody who's trying to maintain an image like Jonathan Majors, you can't have no wife that's constantly out, because as he get bigger, who's he's attached to get bigger, and he ain't trying to have, you know what I'm saying, cameras like, oh Jonathan Majors' wife out doing this, Jonathan Majors' wife out doing that. So what he's having to explain to her is like, listen, like when you a woman attached to a great, like a great man, like a man that's on track, like myself, to be a legend in my field. Like you gotta play that type of role. You feel me? You gotta recognize like, yo, like our image is like literally everything. We in media. You know what I mean? Like they'll take the smallest little thing. Like Jay-Z and Beyonce wouldn't have no controversy for real if it wasn't for the elevator.
Right.
And that was something that's completely outside their control. You know what I mean? And that's why people respect them so much, because it's like regardless of what's actually going on with them, like the whatever controversy come up, easy cut, don't matter. You know what I'm saying? And then he already he already dating a white woman. So he recognizing the criticism of that as well. Like with his image, like niggas just being like, yo, that white woman, like all these videos come out about her kicking it, whatever. Oh, that white woman's out there, guy Jonathan Majors look bad. And the response may be like, oh, well, like there's this question of control and why he has to, you know what I mean? Well, why does she have to fit this role and whatever? And it's because I am a black man that is excelling in ways that I never thought I could, but like, or that I always prayed I could, but shit, it's impossible for a lot of people. You cannot fuck that up for me. That's what he's telling her. You can't be the one to fuck that up. At the end of the day.
And if you want an example of powerful black men and the partners and what they look like, if you need a template for what it looks like to be reliable, dependable, a good representation, a good co-part, like these are the two men that I see myself, you know what I'm saying, gravitating to the levels of a Martin Luther King. And I won't know about all of that, but because you know, shoot them videos, my boy, make them movies, my dog. But he was like Barack Obama. I don't know if you on the stature of a president either, but this is who he's looking to as heroes. All he's saying is these are the qualities of, I don't think the black woman, just the woman or the counterpart that makes that machine run, who makes, you know what I'm saying, those trains run on time, who allows for him to be the best version of himself in the direction that he's trying to go in. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sympathetic to that.
And I'm also, because which is real quick, because Miss Ma'am said I can hear all the anti-patriarchy commentary getting ready to fire off at Damo, and I get it, because I think there's a very fine line with that shit. But at the end of the day, like when black men think survival, like they partner play a large role in that, like for a lot of reasons.
I mean, but I think when anybody play, like there are conversations to be had. Niggas have the same conversation when they are trying to move and have some upward mobility, and they bring somebody up who is not necessarily used to being the center of attention or having money or be around money. You still have to have them same conversations with somebody like, look, I love you, you love me. But when we get in here, don't be doing all that cussing. Don't be doing all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't saying don't be yourself, but I'm certain that niggas with entourages, niggas with cliques and crews, and people who bring their family along had to have those hard conversations. Like, I'm not saying don't be who you are. I'm saying we are moving around different people, and your behavior needs to kind of align with that. We are a different family now. These niggas going to the league and whatever. I know they telling folks, hey, you me and I'm you now. Like, move different. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to be like this person. And the people along for that ride got to move like this. Like, these are just not incomprehensible, unintelligible, unfathomable conversations that people are having with people. And that's where it gets, kind of weird. Go to the car situation. So what's your take?
Hold on, real quick.
You said what?
Perfect example of what we talking about. Ja Morant being around his partners doing dumb shit, lost him bread. Period. Like, and even in terms of like, this is a situation where this is a like his significant other, like celebrities, like black men in these positions have to be very cognizant and clear about who is around them if they're trying to succeed. Period. But car situation. So like as you said, we don't know a lot about like really what happened in the car, right? But we know what it like the end result, and that was that nigga like on some Speedy Gonzalez shit, like really like taking off
blocks
as as if he
Blocks and
was
blocks and blocks.
really
Probably about 5 of them.
right, as if he was really trying to get away with or get away from something. I was about to say with something, but or get away from something. You feel me? Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, it's not. I don't give it as much credit as a lot of other people do, because it could have been a situation where the nigga recognized what he did and was like, fuck, I didn't hit this white bitch. And they just took off.
And it was just like, let me get the fuck up out of here.
I gotta get away. No, what the fuck
Yeah.
did I do? You know what I mean? It could have been that type of situation, but I do think
Exactly.
above all else, even if it's that type of situation, it still put him in a better light, because it could have been just like we doing this, and then he lash out and then realize, like, you know what I'm saying? When you've seen the face of a nigga that didn't, you know what I'm saying, hit a woman out of anger, not really like that's a nigga really would, you would see a nigga break down on some shit like that. I've never been involved in that situation. You feel me? I've never been involved in that situation. I can't speak to what that actually feels like, but I've hit my sister as a kid, and I knew what was gonna come from that. You know what I'm saying? So I can only imagine what that feels like. Shit, that's one of the reasons I learned to keep my damn hands to myself. But it's I mean I do think it's one of those things where it's like he was trying to get away from her, and if that's what they were trying to prove, then they did a good job with that. Yeah, I mean, but it's still it doesn't clear everything up outside of that though.
Most definitely. I mean, I feel like, I think another important backdrop that has been kind of overlooked in this conversation, because I feel like there's a clip of him having to call 911 to come. She barricaded herself in the bathroom, I think in a drunken rage or kind of out of anger and frustration, and threatened to kill herself or be self-harming or do something weird. And then there's just been like alcohol in the backdrop, a lot of these issues. And when people start tripping, you start going back and forth, people start, you be like, nah, get away from me, I'm done with you. And then people want to try again. Like, I don't want to project a scenario on this situation, but it kind of reads like, get off of me, I'm not playing. You keep trying to do whatever. I just want to get away from you, which hence you're drunk. Let me put you back in this car. And I think it got out of hand and maybe even got a little bit too forceful, because there are pictures of her hands and stuff like that from, I think, that night with the running, where like they going back and forth and tussling in this vehicle. And I'm just like, I'm not trying to create, again, I want to be clear, I'm not trying to create a scenario for this man. I'm not trying to, because I have no grounding in this, but I could totally see a world where in the backseat, y'all tussling, going back and forth. You faded, you drunk, you not listening, you leaning on me, laying on me, doing too much, trying to pull me back in. I'm telling you, I don't want to deal with the shit. I'm over it. And us going back and forth. And I try to keep you in the car and go walk the other way and get home another way. We go back and forth. And once I finally get your ass off of me, I'm like, man, you're not finna fucking give up. I'm running. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit, because I'm about to do something crazy. Because I feel like I'm about to do something out of control.
Yeah, I gotta
but
get
I
away
don't know if
from
that's
you.
how it happened.
Yeah, I gotta get away from you.
I don't know what happened in the vehicle. You know what I'm saying? But it's just so many things. And tomorrow, we won't have exact explanations of this, but we're gonna see what a jury of niggas peers feel about, you know what I'm saying, like the accusations that have happened. Because I think he's at a place, because of all this teetering and back and forth, where he could maybe recoup some of what's been lost. But if it's true that he really did beat this woman and do all this terrible shit and really is the aggressor in it, and the case is cut and dry, I mean, I wish nothing good for you, man. Godspeed, but you deserve everything you get. You know what I mean? It's just like we started this conversation off saying, we're just looking for any reason to not give up or not lose another, black man who really represents the culture, represents the best parts of who we are and where we're going and the spaces and places we get into. I don't want to lose another one. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the list of I'm air quoting this, good black men we've lost? Like, I feel like even recently, like the list is thick.
I mean, to me, Diddy never been on a good black man list, but I'm being honest. I think it's always a lot of people on my life
about him for a long time.
Yeah. But I do think if we kind of just sat and went back, I mean, and when we say we lost, we not necessarily mourning, because like they deserve, like a lot of like R. Kelly deserve what he got, Bill Cosby. You know what I mean? Like when you engage in them type of practices, like that type of behavior, Tory Lanez, like like a lot of these niggas deserve what they got. But it's just like, damn, like our icons and influencers are already dominated by celebrities, and now all of these celebrities getting canceled because they turning out to be fucked up people. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, yeah.
so we just like with somebody like Jonathan Majors, that's why it's like it sounds like we kind of being defensive for him, and it's like I'll admit like it kind of is, because it's like we done, like I'm tired of having to cancel niggas. And so it's like if it's a situation where if we give you the benefit of the doubt before niggas jump out the window, like we typically do, like social media typically does to, and again, I am for cancel culture, but shit, a nigga get to a point we tired of canceling niggas. You know what I mean? We gonna do what we gotta do. It ain't, that's like if you have to be canceled, like you're done.
You gotta go. You gotta go.
You're
I
done.
mean,
You know what I mean?
I think people reach their limit with Kanye. I think people met their limit or reached their limit with. I think Kanye is probably the best example of somebody who niggas just like, I'm not even here
Hey,
for it. Like he dropped the album or about to drop an album, and I know
about
it's
to,
gonna be some
yeah.
apologists that go back and listen to it and whatever. But
Nick, I was
it's a
talking to
lot of
Nick
people who,
yesterday.
I seen a lot of people who just like, I'm not falling for it. I'm not playing with this man this time.
I had to tell that nigga. He was like, I was like, he was like, he ready for that Kanye to drop. I'm like, still ain't doing it, bro. Full ass boycott. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a whole ass boycott out here. Like that nigga broke my heart. He broke my heart. And ain't no way around it.
I mean, which
I can't.
let's bring it full circle. The same way you don't want to listen to Kanye, it's symbolic because people are gonna listen to that shit anyway. The same way I'm not voting for Joe Biden, people gonna vote for that nigga anyway. It means something to you. You standing on business. You standing on principle. I'm just saying. I just want to bring those worlds together because you try to get on me for symbolic shit, and you not listening to that nigga is a symbol. Like,
shit, I believe in symbolism. I believe in symbolism. I believe in representation. I believe in messages, cultural messages, all of those things.
One thing I want to jump to the comments. I want to jump to the comments real quick before you close it out. Cash said, I think a lot of times it's the lack of cultural connection. Speaking about Majors and the young lady, I forget her name. I understood where he was coming from, but his delivery was in frustration to a woman who would never understand no matter what. And I think that's a whole separate conversation about how you pick partners and you pick people who either intentionally misunderstand you or don't have the capacity to understand you. Because what's the saying? Like a lot of people say, and this is no tea, no shade to your partnerships, but I'm not living in a house where I got to explain myself. You know what I'm saying? Like on certain shit. I'm not living in a space or, creating.
Why I need more salt.
Like I'm not going back and forth with you about that. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm good. Donnell said he been out on Ye since like the third album, to be real. So we smooth on it. My dog in the protests. We not doing Ye this time. You keep all that shit. We smooth. But close us out, Plug. Take us out. We done talked a little DEI. We done talked a little bit Jonathan Majors. What should we be leaving out on?
Man, look, y'all pay attention. The conclusion of this Jonathan Majors saga will conclude hopefully tomorrow. Also, I was shocked that he was with Megan Good. Like I was really tapped out. I didn't know that because I was starting to feel sorry for the nigga, but then I was like, "Oh, you with Megan Good, nigga? You do not need my sympathy."
It's own thing, man.
Right. So, I mean, like, yeah, I guess pay attention to that. If not, if you're like, I don't give a damn about what's going on with some celebrity, I recommend that too, right? But for those who care about those types of things, we'll have that at least tomorrow. And y'all, listen, support DEI, support diversity and equity efforts. That's the only shit that's making sure that the racism ain't like overrunning things as much as it did in the past. We can't let the little victories that we've had recently make it seem like everything all good.
What do that mean? That mean that y'all schools go to meetings, go to offices, go to little shit at the job, put suggestions in a little box, show up to them conversations, tap in, do meaningful things. When people are making those gestures, because if they feel like they're not getting a response to it, that's just gonna be another reason for them to ask that type of stuff. So you got to answer the bell when it comes to them, if you get any opportunities to speak on behalf of marginalized or silenced or minimal people, minorities in your space.
Especially students.
Tap in.
Yo, but with that being said, we getting out of here at less than an hour and a half. So I think that's a victory. What was you about to say in closing to you?
Real quick, we just celebrated, which I won't believe is an 8-year Chop Up Show anniversary. I've been just doing this shit a decade. December 4th, 10 days ago, my homeboy sent me a post where me and Cam G, old alumni, founding member of the Chapo Show. Me and G started this process way back then, and since then, as you all know, we've been going through some shifts, some changes. It's been me and Cam G, then me and the and Lee and the plug, then just me and Lee and the plug is always gonna be in the mix, and we're gonna keep going and doing amazing things. Moving into year number 9, so we're about to start another season of the Chop Up Show. Yep. At the start of the year. And y'all know we're going to do our traditional end of the show situation or end of the year situation, do our end of the year show coming soon. So the only thing I wanted to say was happy anniversary, Damo.
Happy anniversary, big dog.
Happy anniversary to the plug. It mean a lot to me. Shout out to Shop Nation for y'all being in the mix. Some of y'all most recently, some of y'all for a couple years now, some of y'all since the beginning. I know it's people who not in the live, but guaranteed they show up on the YouTube, they listen to the Spotify and to the Apple Pod. So I want to send love to y'all wherever y'all listen to us at across the world. Y'all know we in over 15 countries. I mean, I ain't gonna toot our horn no more. I'm gonna just say the next year to come, year 2024, is about to be a beautiful one, and it's beautiful because of y'all. So stay tuned for the end of the show wrap up, the end of the year wrap up. Get ready for a new season, and cheers to the Chop Up Show. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, man, we'll be back at it. Also, we about to go ahead and pull back. I forgot I had a Political Plug YouTube channel. Yes, and so I don't dominate all the chop up conversations with political shit. I'm about to bring Toya over to the Political Plug channel where I can beat her up over there as much as I want to. So
abuse. So you shouldn't talk like that when we having conversations about like domestic abuse and violence on the show. You shouldn't say you
definitely right. Terrible
promo.
Right.
Why this nigga needs me? He needs me on the Political Plug team. You know what I'm saying? Because like, why would you say that?
Yeah. I mean, you know what? On that note, because I was about to say something else, and it's like,
hey, thank you, Miss Ma'am. Thank you, Dina. Thank you, Cash Money. Thank y'all for showing love. On another note, go ahead and wrap it up, nigga.
Hey, we out. Bye, y'all. Peace.
We love y'all. Peace.